So this is a tutorial for Le Appuntamento, as requested by Romain F2A. Two chord shapes that we're going to need for this song. The first one is a D triad that I am playing up at the 7th and 5th frets on the D, F sharp, and A strings. I'm plucking that in my right hand with the pointer, middle, and ring. And then I'm going to include the D bass note there. That's the first of the two chord shapes we're going to need. The next one is an A7-9, is how I think of it. I've got my pointer finger on 7th fret of the E string, middle finger on 8th fret of the B string, ring finger on 9th fret of the G string. Now in both of these chords, notice that my pinky finger is free, because in order to play this riff, the pinky is going to be moving around, hitting a few different notes. Now the pattern itself, I'm going to kind of zoom up close to watch my right hand. Okay. Turn that light back on. Here's how it's going to sound, really slow. Even slower. So if you take some time to really master that picking pattern, you're going to be off to a great start, because the entire riff of this song centers around that movement. All right, now you know you're playing it right when your bass sounds like this. So you're going to do this arpeggio for both of the chord shapes, whether it's the D or this A7-9 up here. Now the difference when you play your A7-9 is that the thumb is now on the A and E string. So when I was playing this D chord, my thumb was moving between D and A. But when I play this A7-9 chord, my thumb is moving from A to E. So just to show the difference, I am now playing the A7-9 chord, and watch the difference in my right hand. So you want to start by just learning how to pick those notes with those two chord shapes. Now, obviously, that's not the entire song. There's a lot of pinky work that goes into this. Now, in order to play the melody of this song, the pinky is going to go from relaxing to holding fret 7, to holding fret 9, to holding fret 7 again. All right, so that's all with this D major triad that I haven't moved. All right, these fingers stay in the same place. But if I play that picking pattern, I'm going to play it really slow, same pattern, but I'm going to add my pinky to these notes. Okay? So here is the first arpeggio. Pinky relaxed. Drop my pinky onto fret 7. Pinky up to 9. Back to 7. Real slow. Even slower. Full speed. Now right there, at that note, we're going to switch chords back to that A7-9 shape. Now, the pinky work when we do this chord shape is going to be very similar. The first arpeggio will be played with the pinky relaxing. Then I'm going to drop it onto fret 9. From there, fret 10, back to 9. Okay. So the main difference is that when we were playing this D major shape down here, the pinky had a pretty big stretch, right? It went pretty much 2 full steps between the 3 notes. But in this case, there's a full step and then a half step, right? So with the arpeggio, watch, pinky is of main concern here, but watch how this gets played real slow. Even slower, but before I show it, notice that I moved my thumb down. Right? We're playing the open A and open E string with this particular chord. We're not doing that D anymore. But super slow. Full speed. So those are pretty much the constituent parts of this song. If I play it all together, it goes like this. Generally, when you learn a song on the guitar, you want to understand what is happening well enough that you can transfer those concepts into playing different things that are different from the song itself. Right, so what are some important concepts that are part of the riff from Le Appuntamento? My favorite has to be that bass line. It's kind of got a nice groove to it, if you ask me. Now, the other idea here is that we are using triad shapes and a sort of moving top note, the highest note, kind of moves around while we play the same arpeggio underneath, and we get some really interesting kind of melody lines. Now, let's kind of expand this idea, right? So I have a D major shape here that I was using. Where's some other places on the fretboard? Using the same 3 strings, can we play other D major shapes? Well, the most obvious one is this one down here, right? This D major that goes middle finger on the 2nd fret of the E string, ring finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, pointer finger on the 2nd fret of the G string. We've got a D major here. And the great thing is, my pinky is still free playing this, and I could kind of move it around. We could get a lot of notes there. Now, if I play the same arpeggio, same bass movement, I could be kind of creative with which notes I play as my top note. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, if I take this D chord and I lift up my middle finger, I've got that note, E. F sharp if I just play the chord as is. G if I drop my pinky down and play what is called the sustained 4th. And then if I really stretch my pinky up, I can get up to fret 5. All right. So now we have all these melodic options down here, as well as all the ones that we tried up there. All right. So now I can maybe improvise a little bit using those 2 chords. Place that I could play a D major triad is up at the 10th fret. My pointer finger flattened against E and B on fret 10. Middle finger is playing fret 11 of the G string. as you know, same as the other two chords, my pinky can kind of move around. So now we have a lot of creative options there, and we can kind of just move this around and just come up with all sorts of stuff. That other chord, that A7-9 that was up here. Well, let's think about different A7 shapes that we can make along the fretboard. Here's one down here. All right, I'm flattened against the G and the B string on the second fret, and I got my ring finger, or middle finger actually, on the third fret of the E string, and I've got an A7. I can also play that A7 a little bit lower. With that open A7 shape, middle finger and ring finger on D and B strings. Okay. What else is there? There's a pretty cool A7 up here at the 5th fret. That's the pointer finger on fret 5 of D, middle finger on fret 5 of B, and ring finger on fret 6 of G. And pinky is still free, so I could do some melodic kind of movement around here. Drop that pinky onto fret 7 of B, even as high as fret 8 of B. Down here with this A7. So, just in taking that same arpeggio and really the same chord structure, D to A7, all I really had to do was just add a few different chord shapes that match what I'm already playing, and now I can take the riff from Le Appuntamento and really use it as my own springboard for improv or composition or even just practice. At the end there, I used a D major 7 shape, which is a little bit different from any chord shape that we've played so far. But this is kind of like a pretty typical major 7 voicing. As you can see, I started to kind of branch out of the realm of the arpeggio itself, right? I started to talk about or play different sounding stuff. There's this kind of more bossa nova sound that I could get while still keeping the bass line. Where can we take it from there? Let's add some other chords. Right now, this progression has been in the key of D major. D being the 1 chord and A7 being the 5 chord. What are some other chords that are in that key? Well, we've also got E minor 7. And what else is there? We could maybe go outside of the key, a G major, which is actually in the key, but if we take that G major and maybe make it a G minor, we could get that minor minor 4 sound. Now let's see what happens if I start incorporating those other two chords, right? Those other two chords being E minor 7 and G major to G minor. Let's see. So, I guess the main thesis of what I'm trying to say is just that when you learn a song, if you think about what is happening in the song and try and expand upon it, you're really going to broaden your musical horizons. Use it as a tool of improv, as a tool of maybe just getting to know the fretboard a little bit better, or even composition. So I hope that was enlightening. Enjoy.